Well, lately there's been a lot of talk about anti-Semitism, and I think it's only fair to declare my political identity as a Jewish atheist, but having some study of the Hebrew history and the archaeological record, I think anti-Semitism's worth looking into and what it actually means and where it originates. And I think for a moment you don't mind the clock being wound back 4,000 years or so, 19th century BCE, or BC as some have it, and the patriarch Abraham, the founder of the three religions and their derivatives, came from a city known as Ur of the Chaldees in what is modern day southern Iraq. And from here, the migration of the Semitic tribe of Abraham was to find the land of Canaan, which had been promised by some authorities. Stopping off on the way in Haran, modern day Aleppo in Syria, they made their way through to the land of Canaan, Hebron. There were tough times, and they had to go to northern Egypt to beg for supplies and food during famine years, and the tribes migrated back again when conditions had somewhat improved. Now, this migration encapsulates what we know as the modern day Middle East. Persian, Babylonian, Hittite, Egyptian, Sumerian, Akkadian, various Middle Eastern powers, which on today's map are called a fertile crescent between the Euphrates and the Tigris, right round to the great Nile Delta and northern Egypt. Now, the description of Semitic culture and language is a broad one, from Sumerian, Sanskrit, cuneiform, Hittite, Hebrew, Arabic, all based on Semitic origins. So when we look at the Middle East and we look at all these different countries, the peoples are very much of a Semitic origin in these countries. So to be what they accuse anti-Semitic is more to be anti-Middle East and anti the tribes of the countries that over the years admittedly have fought it out, and as Abraham was promised a land, Canaan, there were a few issues, and those that lived in the land of Canaan, the scholars of the ancient Hebrew texts, quite specific in who was living in this land at the time: the Canaanites, the Kenizzites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Rephaites, the Amorites, the Gashites, and the Jebusites. Sounds like a governor of Florida. And these peoples, Semitic, fought, allied intermarried, and generally were involved in the politics, culture and society of the land that was known as the land of Canaan. So when we look at concepts of ethnicity and religious identities, we're talking about this whole area, and I think it's good to appreciate that Zionism and Semitism are very different things. And I think those who support peace and brotherhood and sisterhood between the different peoples of the area and the tribes with similar roots and origins and claims to prophets and gods. The policy pursued by governments, especially the so-called Western alliances of the US, the UK, including the Israeli, Saudi supporters and allies. You can carry on making an argument about what it is, what anti-Semitism can be, but the reality is those who support the Palestinians, Syrians, Iraqis, the Israeli people, the Palestinians,
I put both keys on the table.
They are truly the people who support a Semitic peace in the Middle East. The press pondering the historical significance. Over and out.